I think now we can begin. And I welcome you again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining us from. My name is Dorcas Kinyua, and I'm the Senior Marketing Manager at Angaza. I'll be moderating the webinar, and we'll take you through the first session of this session today. So today we have an interesting topic on how to accelerate your sales growth with smartphones. And we are going to, in this webinar, we are going to explore how the opportunities for smartphones and how distributors can take advantage of those opportunities. So first on our agenda is we're going to look at how distributors can capitalize the consumer demand for smartphones in emerging market, for smartphones in emerging markets, and how they can actually sell these to consumers while reducing risk and promoting business growth. We're also going to look at how RDG, an Angaza customer, successfully piloted a smartphone sales pilot, and they were able to successfully do it in Zambia. And we are also going to look at share the best practices for selling smartphones, and look at 4 features of the Angaza platform that can enable you accelerate smartphone sales. And at the end, you're going to have a Q&A session. So at this juncture, I would want to invite our speakers for today to introduce themselves. And I'm going to start with Victor Brian. Please switch on your camera and introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you, Dorcas. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I'm Victor Brian, an account executive here at Angaza. We're glad to have you here at our webinar today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Victor Brian. And now I'm going to invite our special guest for today, who is the CEO and founder of RDG Corrective, Rune, to introduce himself. So switch on your camera and introduce yourself today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rune. I am the founder and CEO of RDG, and I'm looking forward to going through our successful pilot, which we ran in 2021 on the smartphones.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rune, for that introduction. Before we proceed, I'm going to share a few housekeeping rules. So as we go along, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the question panel, and we will answer them during our Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Also, everyone at the webinar who has attended today's webinar will receive a copy of this webinar. So please feel free to share it with your peers or colleagues who have not found time to join us today. And at this juncture, I would want us to look at the opportunities for smartphones in Africa. And more consumers in emerging markets are leaning towards purchase of affordable, feature-rich products. And this trend isn't exclusively on smartphones, but also other durable products like televisions, laptops, and TVs, and domestic refrigeration devices. And therefore, incorporating new products like smartphones, especially due to the high demand, into sales strategy can help you build your business for more sustainability. So you're looking at, do you know or share your thoughts on the number of expected users in sub-Saharan Africa between years 2021 and 2025. I think we can now end the poll. So we look at the results. Thank you very much. And as you can see, about 36 of us think it's 300 million new smartphone users that will be that are expected in year 2021 to 2025, and another 32 think is 270 million new smartphone users, where another 25% think it's 100 million, and 7% think it's 150 million new smartphone users. So let's look at the correct response to that. And in the next slide, so studies from GSMA, a global body that represent smartphone industry, show that demand for smartphones continue to rise in popularity, especially in the African market. And as you can see, about 32% were correct, with 270 million new smartphone users who are expected between 2021 to 2025. And due to this high demand, you can see a huge opportunity for smartphone sales. And pay-as-you-go financing will address the biggest barrier to adoption due to the high cost of smartphones. And this, as you can see in terms of repayment rate or for smartphones, we have data from Angaza shows we have an average rate of 92% repayment rate. And therefore, smartphones repayments are actually higher than other products, such as solar home systems. I know some of you have been using Angaza to sell solar home systems. And as you can see from our data, we have a higher repayment rate when it comes to smartphones. And therefore, the risk is much less. So these types of scenarios are presenting distributors with opportunities and incentives to reach more consumers by expanding your product portfolio. At this point, I would want now to introduce our host to take us through the rest of the webinar, Victor Brian. So over to you, Victor Brian.
Thank you very much, Dorcas, for the valuable insights. With that said, let us kick off with why it's critical for distributors to keep up with rising demand for smartphones in emerging market. And the question we should ask ourselves today is, how does smartphone sales help grow my business? So as consumers in the emerging markets demand more sophisticated products, we have realized that many distributors are recognizing enormous growth opportunities in expanding their product portfolios to include highly sought after products like smartphones. And likely that's why you're here today for this webinar. The reason for expanding your product portfolio as a distributor is simple. No company can survive on a single product. Therefore, expanding your product line is one of the strongest ways your distribution business can grow in the following ways. The first aspect is expanding beyond one to a few product types that appeals to customers and also meet the market demands outside there. The second aspect is that you'll be able to reach new consumers who may not have been interested in the older product portfolio that you currently stock. The third but not least aspect is you'll be able to cater to existing customers' demand for new and other feature-rich products like smartphones, TVs, and also laptops. In addition, smartphone sales can help de-risk your business and drive a transformational growth thanks to the opportunities and expanded product portfolio. And we should take about a minute or so just to answer this question. Kindly just go through the question and submit your responses. And we have about 20 seconds left for the results. And the question is, what is your biggest smartphone sales growth challenge? And we should end the poll by now and get the results. and the polls are out. And not surprising that we have heard from many distributors that the greatest challenge when it comes to smartphone sales growth is expanding your product portfolio to meet market demands, in which 33% of you say that it's one of the challenge. And then the other bit is that 21% of you said that collecting payments from customers is also a greater challenge. And while 8% of you say that can't get in front of the right buyers as one of the greatest challenge in smartphone sales growth. So as we transition, let us find out how you can overcome the sales growth hurdle and other challenges with the Angaza platform. As a distributor, focusing your growth efforts on the sale of life-changing products like smartphones using the Angaza platform enables your distribution business to address sales growth barriers by empowering you in the following ways. First is expanding your consumer base to those who are looking for consumer financing by offering pay-as-you-go smartphone. The second aspect is expanding beyond to one to a few product types, especially if as a distributor you're experiencing low stock from manufacturers or wholesalers, to include feature-rich smartphones, devices available within the Angaza expanding device portfolio. The third aspect is to use Angaza's metering technology to lock and unlock devices based on your customer's payment status, and also use the SMS tools to encourage your customer repayments through the payment reminders. The fourth but not final aspect is identifying existing customers within your portfolio with the strongest payment history to upsell smartphones using Angaza through the promotional offerings. Before we proceed, let us hear how one of our distribution customers who's using Angaza platform to effectively sell affordable smartphone, thus achieving 50% gross profit margin over 6 months and much more. Ladies and gentlemen, I now introduce to you Mr. Rune, the founder and CEO of RDG Collective based in Zambia. RDG is empowering the future of communities throughout the sub-Saharan Africa with innovative, life-changing appliances like smartphones and solar home system. Rune will be sharing an insightful customer success story on how RDG has used the Angaza platform to strategically expand their product portfolio, launch a successful smartphone sales pilot in Zambia last year, and what the future holds for RDG. I now welcome Mr. Rune to share RDG success story.
Thank you, Victor, and thank you, Angaza, for having me here today. So as Victor just mentioned, we ran a pilot in early 2021 to assess the financial feasibility of distributing smartphones under the pay-as-you-go platform. But before I get into that, into more detail, a little bit about us and what set us up to run that pilot. So we were founded in 2018, and we are currently in 8 of Zambia's 10 provinces. We are vertically integrated, so we do design and manufacture and distribute. So we have quite a unique perspective, especially on the supply side challenges that I'm sure many of you have been experiencing over the last 12 to 24 months. Operationally, as I mentioned, we run the pay-as-you-go business model. On the Angaza platform, we're supported by a team of agents in the rural areas with 8 service centers. And currently we offer solar home systems, smartphones, and soon refrigerators, freezers, and solar water pumps. And our slogan, Empowering the Future, sort of epitomizes what we try and do with our products. Our products are there to change lives, and smartphones are a big part of that going forward. So next slide. So why we're all here today, smartphones, why and how. So for us as a distributor, what was key about the smartphones is the lead times. With the semiconductor challenge that everyone's been facing, even the likes of Toyota and Apple, we were finding ourselves running out of products. And we were quite eager to look into alternatives that not only were readily available, but also affordable and something that would help the rural communities that we were operating in. So smartphones, even though they've had price increases over the last 12 months, their supplies remain quite resilient. As Angaza has already mentioned, growing demand, 270 million people are going to be gaining smartphones, and that's a huge wave, and you really want to be riding it and not miss it. So that's also another key reason why we decided to get involved. Short payment period, high collection rates. And the key point, and that's why it's underlined here, is the availability of locking technology integrated with Angaza. I think key to any distributors is having software or central software system that houses everything that you do. You don't want to sell one product and have multiple different platforms that you need to work on to achieve that one sale. So for us, that was really key. And Angaza's done a great job with partnering with the different companies that can provide the locking technology for Infinix, Tecno, Samsung, and even some other phones. So on the right there, you can see a poster of the Infinix phones of Infinix Smart 6 that we will be distributing very, very soon throughout Zambia. And that comes from the success we've had during the pilot project. Next slide, please. The RDG sales process. So I'm not, in the order of to save time, I'm not going to go through each single point here, but the key points are highlighted. And the first one there is the RDG credit department. If you're going to do the smartphone business, especially as a pay-as-you-go distributor, what's really key is managing your risk. And I think we're all aware of that. You need to manage risk not only for yourself, but also for your investors. So what we do at RDG and what we did through the pilot is that during prospecting, so when a customer approaches you, we look to collect, it's about 42 different data points. And those data points includes what's the material of your roof, how many children do you have, what are the school fees you pay. I know some people may say that sounds intrusive, but these customers are taking a loan from you. And as you do with a bank, you need to collect as much information as possible to ascertain your credit worthiness. So for us, that's been really, really important. And we've got a really well-established system that we've developed with the solar home system business. And then we've just taken that and used it for the smartphones. And in my opinion, to great success. So based on that, we then approve or reject a customer based on the answers on a points-based system, which is similar to the Australia visa system I like to compare it to. And if they're approved, they pay 10% of the value of the smartphone typically, and they make that payment with mobile money. And again, this is a key point of Angaza. Angaza allows integration with the mobile money providers locally. So for Zambia, it's MTN and Airtel, and it means we can be 100% cashless. Now that's priceless to reduce your risk, especially in cash losses, which if you're a distributor, you probably have experience at some point. So for us, that's key. And I know some of the feedback might be, not everyone has a mobile money account customer-wise. That's true, not everyone does, but it's the future. So what we've trained our agents to do is to help these customers set up their own mobile money accounts, because whether they like it or not, they're going to need one in time, especially with the way that mobile banking is going. So that's quite important. And then the final point that's highlighted here, agent delivers smartphone for free at the customer's house. Not everyone does this. We do this because it makes me sleep better at night. But if worst case scenario, the customer doesn't pay, you need to know where they live. If they go into the shop and they say that I live at this address and they leave, there's no guarantee that what he wrote down was true. So we insist that we must deliver the phone to your house. It's free delivery, it doesn't cost you as a customer anything, and it makes us feel better. And amongst other questions that we ask you during prospecting, we're pretty sure that is your house. It's not like you can just walk to any house and say that's mine. So that's really key in the process and the success of smartphones, in our opinion. Next slide, please. And this is just us, the team in action. This is important again as part of the success is it's having presence. If you're going to sell a smartphone in a rural area, the customer needs to feel that if something goes wrong, you are going to be there to help them. Now, I know this might sound very obvious to a lot of people, but a lot of companies I see make the mistake that they don't have this. So for us as RDG, even though we're selling a Infinix phone, we're going to be there to support you if there's any problems with an Infinix phone, even though we're RDG. So the top left here, we have a customer service team. We currently have 9 customer service agents. They work 7 days a week, available from 8 in the morning till 8 at night, which is very key. Bottom left, we have our own team of technicians. And then in the center there, we have our sales team on RDG motorbikes and cars. So that presence is there and that confidence is there. And I think that's a big part of the success we've had, is that people feel that we're there for them, not that we sell and we disappear. Next slide. And Victor already mentions most of these points in terms of the key of Angaza. So I'm going to focus on the bottom 2 here. The stock management tool. I know this webinar is about smartphones, but the stock management tool is so important, because if you're losing your stock, you're losing your business. So in 2019, and I hope Angaza doesn't mind me saying this, the stock tool in the Angaza system wasn't actually that strong because people weren't really using it. They had separate products to do that. And then we were as a small company, and we said, we want everything under one roof. Payments, customer information, and stock. And even as a small company, Angaza listened to us and said, we can see this is for the greater good. So they upgraded their stock tool to something phenomenal and something that we use every single day now. And it's really helped us reduce any losses that we have, and especially in smartphones, something that's easily stolen or moved around. It's really, really vital. And I promise you, Angaza has not paid me to say that, but they do listen to you. No matter what your size is, they're going to listen to you as a company. So I think that's really key in any kind of partnership that you have. And then lastly, the reporting analytics. In any kind of pilot project you run, you need to show hard figures, to only yourself, but to your investors. Does this work? And obviously, Angaza collects so much data that is available on your dashboards. You can see the number of late customers, monthly sales, daily sales, PAR numbers. For those of you in the solar home industry business, PAR numbers are king, and it comes in a package that's really easy to understand and easy to visualize. So it's really easy to share with others to identify, is this feasible or is this not? So in the case of the smartphones, you'll see in the next slide, these are the results that we had. So I do want to mention, this wasn't a pilot with thousands of smartphones. It was less than that. So we would assume that maybe the number of customers on time would go down by maybe a percentage point or 2, but still 93% is quite remarkable. Again, with write-offs and repossessions, you probably expect that to go up towards maybe 1% at larger scales, maybe even 2 in some cases. In some difficult markets, I don't think in Zambia we would see that. The gross profit margin, we got 50% on quite small volumes that were bought at almost, street prices, and if you're buying huge volumes, which we now are getting to, we're probably looking at those gross margins move up to 60% and maybe even beyond. So smartphones really do represent an opportunity, not only in the sense that there's a growing number of customers, but the financial side of it. And as such, we are making it a big part of our business moving forward, not only in Zambia, but in the new markets that we target. We actually going to launch smartphones with the solar home systems together, because we see it as such a strength. So I'm by no means an expert in any of this, but I think we've been quite successful in what we've done in Zambia at the scale that we've done it. So I'm sure people have some other questions towards the end for me on that. I'm happy to answer them. Next slide. And then this is just some of our customers that we've empowered over the years. And I want to say that the last thing is that smartphones really represent a great way to upsell and establish loyalty. From these customers you see here, smartphones are such a big priority for them. And for us, what we have done initially is we only provide smartphones to existing customers, so they can see there's real loyalty, a reward for your loyalty as being part of our company. And I'm sure that others can do the same thing and really solidify your base in those communities that you work in. So thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry, I think I ran over a little bit there, but thank you for that. And any questions, I'm happy to answer towards the end.
Thank you, Ron, for the valuable insights on how you're leveraging Angaza to accelerate smartphone sales in Zambia through RDG. Ladies and gentlemen, as we have heard, there are countless ways in which distributors can leverage Angaza to sell more products and expand sales opportunities, just like RDG. So as we progress, the question we'll ask ourselves is, how does one attain these? First is access to the Angaza sales and customer management platform. As Rune said, you can capture and manage your customer data with the Angaza CRM feature to digitize customer records, manage inventory, and implement device locking. Secondly, Angaza has partnered with key players in the smartphone locking technology, thus enabling you as a distributor to access a wider range of smartphones available for locking from leading companies like Samsung, NovoPay, and PayTrigger, enabling our distributors to sell their smartphones confidently. Just to mention, Samsung Knox is available exclusively to Samsung phones, while NovoPay locking capability, which actually supports broader Android devices with an operating system of 7.0 and above. Plus, it also increases protection on the Samsung devices beyond its locking mechanism of the Samsung Knox. Also, PayTrigger, the lock and unlock technology, which is compatible with Transsion phone models like the Infinix, Itel, and the Techno brands. So this locking technology enables distributors to lower the risk of non-payment and provide incentive for customers to make their installment payments in time. In addition, as a distributor within the Angaza platform, you can meet customer demand for more varieties of smartphones with a wider range of pay-as-you-go enabled devices integrated with Angaza to accelerate your sales growth by up to 50% annually. Just to mention, the compatible brands we have is the Marathon brands, Samsung, Airtel, Infinix, and Techno. With that said, let's look at some of the ways your distribution business can leverage Angaza to successfully scale by selling more in-demand products and expand sales opportunities through smartphone sales. First, we will look at metering the smartphones to secure the sales of these devices on a pay-as-you-go basis, allowing your customers to pay in affordable installment terms, as well as enabling you to track their payments. Second, we will indulge on how you will register the smartphones for sale. Here you'll learn how to define pricing groups and unlock prices for devices that are locked and unlocked based on the payment statuses of your clients. Thirdly, we will look at monitoring and tracking smartphone stocks level. Furthermore, we'll also dive in a set of tools to manage payments and collections. Consequently, we will debunk how to lock devices that are due for payment and unlock them when payment is made, plus how to unlock a fully paid off smartphone device. Lastly, we'll then have time for questions and answers at the end of this session. Ladies and gentlemen, let's walk you through a brief demo of how a distributor will sell a smartphone on the Angaza platform.
Thank you, Victor, for having me today to take our webinar attendees through a demo of key Angaza platform features that help accelerate your distribution business sales growth with smartphones. We will walk through the powerful features the platform offers to sell smartphones on a pay-as-you-go financing model. From adding inventory to when it's fully paid for by your customers, the Angaza platform provides the tools you need to succeed. We begin with enabling the metering of smartphones with Angaza's lock and unlock technology and how the device is linked to the Angaza platform. Angaza offers you locking capabilities to 7.0 or higher Android devices, allowing you to secure a wide range of smartphones, including Infinix, Techno, Itel, and Samsung models. This allows your customers to pay in affordable installment terms, as well as enables you to track their payments. Before starting the installation process, you will need to ensure that the phone has been factory reset or the phone is completely new, like this Techno Pova Neo. Additionally, you will need an internet connection to complete the installation. Now you're ready to install the lock-in app on your Techno smartphone device. You open the dialer app and dial *#7298 #*#*. As you can see here, this will automatically launch the app download screen. Click on download and allow the configuration. Then click on install. Once done, allow the app to communicate with Angaza and Tecno smartphone. As soon as the communication is effected, you will see the terms of service. Click on Agree and then Continue. Now let's look at the powerful features that the Angaza platform offers to empower distributors to manage their business and drive sales growth with smartphones. We begin on the dashboard, which has been designed to provide important information that you need at a glance. You can see revenue by day and by sales channels, accounts by status, as well as total registrations, plus and locked accounts, allowing you to better understand how your business is performing and make data-driven decisions. You can also track payment behavior, portfolios at risk, and trends in disabled accounts on the collections dashboard. You can quickly see if any of your products are out of stock. Let's now look at the pricing groups feature. These are loan groups that you have for your business model. By configuring a pricing group, you determine the payment plans you are offering to your customers, from the total price, which is the unlock price, and frequency of installment payments, which is the pricing schedule. To create a new pricing group, first, you navigate the groups page. Then, click the plus Create Group button on the upper right side of the screen. This opens the Create dialog box. You have two options here: to create a new group from scratch, or to create a new group by duplicating and modifying an existing group. Going by the first option, select Create a new group from scratch as you can see here. Then, you fill in the fields in the Create Pricing Group dialog box, starting with the name of the pricing group, which will be the identifier. In this section, you can be as descriptive as possible by filling in details such as the product name, country, and region that will be specific for the pricing group. The next step is to add a description to help you better understand your grouping. Here, add more information about the pricing group by defining the frequency with which you want to receive payments, either on a monthly, weekly, or daily installment payments. For our case, we will fill in monthly installments. You can opt to turn on the prospective feature if you need your agents and field personnel to prospect. This allows them to collect and record client details using the Angaza mobile app and submit for approval before making an actual sale. The other field is the products. Here, you select the product type for the loan. As you can see, the drop-down list shows the smartphone product range, like Infinix, itel, Tecno, Samsung, or any other brand that you're selling within your device portfolio. So you select the specific smartphone brand type to be associated with a group, say Tecno Camon 18. After selecting the product, you will navigate to payment terms and choose the billing model you'd like to implement: pay-as-you-go, leasing, or direct sales. In this case, you're offering the phone with consumer financing, so you select pay-as-you-go and then configure how you want the payments to be channeled. The next step will be to populate all other pricing details. Assuming you want to sell the phone at 17,000 Kenya shillings, you will first fill in the unlock price of the device at 17,000 shillings, which is the total cost of the device. You then set up a down payment for the device. For example, you can decide the customers buying the Tecno Camon 18 will make an initial payment of 5,000 Kenya shillings during the sale registration. With this, you can now decide on the grace period to be given to the client before making the next payment. For instance, you can set this as 30 days. You then proceed to the pricing schedule, which is the amount your customer will pay on a monthly basis. In this case, you can set it at 3,000 Kenya shillings with an interval of 30 days. We have the minimum payment checkbox, which allows you to fill in the least amount of money your client can pay to access key codes that unlock the smartphone in case it's deactivated. For instance, if your customers are unable to raise the full 3,000 Kenya shillings, you can allow them to pay an amount less than the pricing schedule, say 1,500 Kenya shillings, and the platform will automatically prorate and give them key codes equivalent to the number of days paid for. Finally, after defining all these fields, you can now create the pricing group by clicking the Submit button. The created pricing group appears here. As you can see, you can view the different loan terms and the registrations that have already been done. We now move on to monitoring and tracking smartphone stock levels using the stock feature. You can easily manage your stock levels and reduce the risk of stock loss and fraud, as the platform offers you a detailed history of stock transfer and chain of responsibility to ensure accountability. The movement of stock in your business can be traced on the stock transactions page. Whenever a unit is added, sent, repossessed, replaced, etc., it is logged on this page. To get the stock transactions page, click on the stock page as you can see here. Then select stock transactions. Next, on the top left within the stock transactions page, there is a filter option. You can use the filter option to narrow in on specific stock movement details within your business. You can easily track stock movements over time to avoid stock out, track and forecast inventory levels, as well as run audits to identify logistical bottlenecks using filters such as date of the transaction to view units moved within a certain period, product type filter to view specific product types within your portfolio. You can select more than one type from the list. You can also filter by unit number to view the unique payee number for the product, normally found on the product. Or use a condition filter to view specific transfer actions that happened on a unit: added, received, replaced, repossessed, sent, cancelled, sent, registered, and removed. Fourthly, we'll look at a set of tools to manage payments and collections, which you can find under the Payments feature for sales and collections management, and under the Messages feature for encouraging customer payments and boosting repeat sales through SMS communication. Let's start with collection management. By default, the Payments page opens to the Accounts payments. Here you can monitor your customers' payments progress in real time by viewing a detailed payment history of any customer, including the amount paid and dates. At the top left of the Accounts payment page is the Filter option, which allows you to view specific data on payments by applying different filters as you can see here. For example, to compare revenue week over week and see general trends, you can select the Date Range filter. Then, key in the dates you are interested in, and then click the Enter button on your keyboard. The filter results of the revenue collected within that week will be displayed on the Accounts page for your review, as you can see here. You can also download and export the displayed results for further internal analysis using the Download option on the top left corner. Now let's look at how you can encourage customer payments and boost repeat sales. On the Messages tab is Angaza's SMS tool that allows you to communicate externally with your customers. You can send an automated SMS when certain events occur, such as new registrations and new payments. You can also send payment reminders to all active accounts on the platform, or run targeted campaigns. These SMS prompts encourage on-time payments, thereby reducing your customer's payment default risk. As you can see here on the administrative menu, in the upper right corner, the Edit SMS Notifications default page allows you to view and edit these default notifications that are automatically designed when a new pricing group is created. The new Pricing Groups Types section has fully customizable group SMS types, such as Registration Welcome, Payment Confirmation, plus upcoming and overdue payment reminders. The other automated SMS that don't need customization by pricing group include notifications like insufficient payments and unit replacement. Secondly, we have bulk SMS messages, which you can use for promotional campaigns or other communication updates to your existing customers. For example, you can inform your customers of newly available smartphones, or you can send them promotional messages like referral bonuses or discounts. This fosters and strengthens ongoing relationships with your customers that result in repeat sales. As you can see, Once you have sent an SMS, you're able to view a log of all SMSs sent out from the platform, including their statuses, that is sent, delivered, or failed. Now let's see what happens when a customer misses making a payment due for a smartphone, even after sending these SMS notifications. To begin with, when a payment is missed, the customer's smartphone automatically locks and only limited functionality will be available on the phone. As you can see, the customer can only make emergency calls, access limited settings, and this app button only allows access to the SIM toolkit to facilitate payment via mobile money, using either the locked Technopova Neo smartphone or another phone. For this demonstration, the Technopova Neo smartphone is a brand new phone without a SIM card. As such, the customer can use another phone to make a payment using M-Pesa. To do this, simply open the SIM Toolkit app, select Safaricom, select M-Pesa, then Lipa na M-Pesa and choose Pay Bill. On the Enter Business number, key in the number 408191 and click OK. You then add account number, which is the unique Angaza account number provided on the screen of the locked smartphone that you wish to activate by making payment. The customer will then receive two confirmation messages, that is one from M-Pesa and one from Angaza, Sun King, confirming that your payment has been received. As you can see here, once payment has been effected, Angaza will communicate with PayTrigger and the phone will be automatically unlocked. We now finish off by looking at what happens when the customer completes making all payments for the smartphone. If the smartphone is fully paid off, the device will be unlocked forever. How? The lock-in app is easily removed from the smartphone or kept to facilitate the secure sale of more products. To confidently sell products like TVs and laptops that aren't metered, aka lock and unlock based on payment status, you can easily use the fully metered smartphone as collateral. By selling such additional products to existing customers, you can expand your portfolio of products, boosting your revenue while offering them a wide variety of life-changing products. Our goal is to see you succeed in selling smartphones and other in-demand items like TVs, laptops, fridges, and cook stoves. And Angaza is designed from the ground up to see you succeed. Thank you so much for walking through this demo with me. We'll now move on to the Q&A session.
So let's begin with the first question that has been typed by Gerard. And this is directed to Rune. How many smartphones has RDG placed in total?
So the pilot was done with just under 200 smartphones. As a pilot, but then going forward, we expect to be selling multiple thousands per year. And I think for a pilot, I mean, I guess some people can do a few thousand, but I think for us, especially in the climate that was 2021, we sort of wanted to manage a risk. So we actually did a trial pilots with multiple products, and smartphones was one of them. I can see the other questions here. What is the interest in these phones you place, and how long is the financing you offer on the smartphone? So the financing we offer between 8 and 12 months. I'm guessing what's the interest rate on the phones. So I'm guessing that's what the second question is. We don't typically have like a monthly interest rate. It's built into the price. So I think that gross margin target that we talked about before, that 50%, that's the target. What we do in Zambia, we don't say as a customer, you're paying 4 or 5% per month. It's not how we market our products.
Okay. Great. The next question is for Victor Brian, and Someone is asking, can you talk to us about the repayment rate for smartphones again? It's higher than solar home systems.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dorcas. To answer the question, the repayment rate for smartphone has been cited by many of our distribution customers to be higher than any other product, just like the solar home systems. So therefore, it's like scenarios like these that we have identified from the distributors that presents them with the growth opportunities and also incentives to actually reach more customers and also to expand their product portfolio to include and incorporate the smartphone sales within their business. Yes, so the rate for smartphones is quite higher than the solar home systems. Thank you.
Okay, great. And then there's another question which has been asked again. Does Angaza platform receive mobile money payments from other providers other than M-Pesa? That is Victor. I think you can respond to that.
Okay, thank you very much, Dorcas. So the Angaza platform definitely to date has done 55 plus integrations with best-in-class mobile money and payment providers globally in the 50 plus countries that our distributing customers operate in. In turn, as Angaza, we have seen that these integrations has allowed our distributors and their clients to process payment for life-changing products like smartphones securely and efficiently, while opening doors to broader financial inclusion. So yes, we have integrated with a broader spectrum of best-in-class mobile money and payment providers globally, not just in Kenya alone, but in over the 50 plus countries we operate in. Thank you.
Okay. On the chat, I'll take one or two questions for Rune. And someone is asking, thanks, Rune, have you had any that is adult? And he's asking, thanks, Rune, have you had any issues with the locking providers where customers could go around the locking and use the phones without payments?
Yes. So during our pilot, we actually tested 3 different locking technologies, and we did find issues with the locking technologies that weren't provided by the manufacturer. So obviously you mentioned Samsung Knox is provided by Samsung, was developed by Samsung. So it's built into, or basically built into their hardware. That was almost bulletproof. But the ones that were like third-party providers, we did have problems. It was well, we found instances where it was quite easy to hack. This was a year ago, and we did submit that feedback to those partners. So it's got a lot better since then. But my advice would be to focus on locking partners that are also themselves manufacturers, because it's in their best interest, and you want the technology to be installed at the warehouse or at the factory rather than you're doing it yourself in your shops. Okay.
Thank you, Rune, for that. Another question for Rune before we end the webinar is from Leon. How is the repayment rate between existing and non-existing customers?
Yeah, I can see that question. So the existing customers is better, and that's because we're very selective on the existing customers. So because of the Angaza data that we have over 3 years, we know which customers are the best in repayments, ones that never had problems, ones that have paid early. So we target those, so to speak. So their repayments are obviously much better. I mean, they're almost at 100%. So it's a little bit different. So, I mean, for those distributors that have thousands and thousands of customers, you can really find hundreds that are very, very low risk. I do see at the end of that question, it says MCOP is also going to markets and not doing any follow-up or credit checks. That's up to them. We wouldn't do that. I think that's if you have the resources to do that, then it's fine. I think for us, my investors would be very worried that I'm being financially irresponsible if I wasn't doing any kind of background check. So I really highly advise you do that. And also the data that you collect from that prospecting is priceless. You know, people say data is king, and you can use that data in the future for other things, such as targeting customers who say they're farmers. So yeah, what Copper does is slightly different to what we do in that sense.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. There was a second question there. I think we can take that as the last one, and then we will now proceed to the next session on how you reach out to large phone manufacturer for your future purchases, given the big difference in size between PG companies and a large company such as Samsung.
I would say that you need to piggyback because, like, you're right. I mean, we RDG, we also are a small company. So the way that we've approached them is through Angaza, that relationship we have with Angaza. Angaza is obviously a much larger company. They work with these manufacturers, they work with the different suppliers. So that's how we've had contact with these manufacturers, is through them. So as a Angaza customer, you have a customer success relationship manager, and ours is Peter. And I reached out to him initially and said, we're looking for access to phones on scale. And through him, in a few days, he reached out and gave me contacts. So that's the way that we did it, was through Angaza.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Victor, one last one for you. Someone is asking, yeah, Geoffrey is asking, are we able to sell the PG financed smartphones in Tanzania? I think that's a question.
Yeah, so definitely yes. So if you're in like the distribution business, so definitely it can be incorporated in Tanzania. Like I mentioned, we operate in 50 plus countries, and definitely it can be incorporated in Tanzania.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. I think due to the interest of time, we've seen your questions both on the chat and also on the Q&A panel. So let us now proceed to the next session, and we will take the questions that haven't been answered. We'll make sure that our customer success managers, as well as our sales team from Angaza, will follow up with each one of you. But again, I thank you so much for typing in your questions. We'll follow up with you in case we have not answered your question during this live session. So as I mentioned during at the beginning of the webinar, we're going to share a recording of this webinar within 2 to 3 days to every person who has attended today's webinar. So feel free to share it with your colleagues or peers in distribution who may not have been able to join today's webinar. And as I mentioned, also follow up. We are going to follow up on questions that have not been answered during the live session. So don't feel like we've left you out, but we're gonna reach out to you. And lastly, to contact us and share your comments, you can either write us an email via sales@angaza.com or contact your customer success manager with questions to get started with smartphone sales. And we are on standby to respond to you. All right. At this juncture, I now want to thank you, all of you, for attending today's webinar. We've come to an end. Thank you so much for being with us, creating time to find with us. We hope you found this session insightful and eye-opening. And like I mentioned, Angaza is built to empower your business for success, and we shall be able to follow up with you. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening. Have a nice morning. For some of you, it's morning or afternoon or evening. Yeah, and enjoy the rest of the time.